All right, allegedly we're live, Ben. Hot dog. Touchdown. Just coming out of the 1-1 win. Of course, welcome aboard to those of you who are new to the program. Of course, TallySCtalk podcast after dark. Woo! As we get the feedback, just to make sure we have the feed operating correctly. I'm Andrew Jupe, play-by-play man here for TSC, and my color commentator, this side of the screen, Ben Grubbs. Ben, coming out of the 1-1 win, I guess, what's your prevailing thoughts, your prevailing mindset? What you got going on inside the dome that's rattling around, big dog?
Yeah, I think a one win is a good way to describe it. I was thinking about the choke at Doak back in 1994 when Florida State was down 31-3, came back and they said, "Coach Bowden, does this count as one of those moral victories?" Like, no, I don't think we'll claim this as a win, but it's a pretty dang good win. I mean, tie. And I
There you
kind of got
go.
a similar feeling tonight. It's a tie that definitely felt like a win when Ellisteen put in that last goal.
Woof, absolutely. Yeah. Wild ride. So it Ben, I was going through it and it felt like I was having like a little PTSD because we had the wild sequence. It's starting to get a little chaotic. It's starting to get a little chippy. It's starting to get a little scrappy. Things are getting a little wild. And then the cards start flying out. And then we have then the things start going in. Then there's the ejection. All of a sudden we're down a goal. And then Pensacola's thrown forward. It's like, man, I've seen this. It feels like so many times before. It feels like five times I've seen this movie, not only overall in the rivalry series, but in Tallahassee. It's like, oh my gosh, it's happening again. But what was your feeling, I guess, as far as the flow of the game as we got going?
Yeah, so the first 30 minutes, we'll say 30 minutes because that's about when the red card happened.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty even game between both sides. We talked pregame, kind of wanted to see Tallahassee balance kind of the long ball strategy they had against Mobile in game one, but with, good the midfield passing game they had against Panama City Beach. And they're doing a good job of that. And Pensacola was too, was pretty even, pretty balanced. But then, then chaos unfolded. We had a yellow card and then a red card. Kamaldeen sent off. And then from there, the rest of the first half kind of stabilized. Tallahassee bunkered down, keep it to 0-0. But then, just tough right out of the second half, giving up that goal. Not what you want to have happen. Um, but then, Tallahassee could easily have quit. I think we talked about, we were scared it was going to turn into 2 or 3, but they stuck with it, had a couple spells of possession, and then Pensacola got a red card. Even strength again. Tallahassee gets the late goal, and we get the 1-1 win.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what was pretty wild for me is it felt like it was just spiraling into a situation of chaos. Like I don't know at what point that was going, but I don't know, maybe like minute 3, I felt like I really try to not dog people who are refereeing in lower league, right? So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
I know they're like begging for people to ref lower league. It's like, hey, any chance that we can get to have somebody come in and do that, yes, please do. So I really try. But it felt like minute 3, I felt like by that standpoint, the ref was starting to lose control. And once we got into like minute 10, I feel like it was kind of a runaway train from there.
Yeah, I don't know that any ref really could have calmed this game down too much. It's a tough one to call, but yeah, it never felt like this is going to be a calm affair right from the jump. There were physical challenges coming in, and yeah, what five? Hang on, let me pull up my sheet here. Yeah, we had 5 yellow cards apiece and a red card each by my tally. So yeah, never quite had control of this one.
Yeah, I was trying to bring up as we talked about it because it was starting to feel like last year, and I remember I was like, was it this bad? But then we looked back at it and we looked at the stats that we had kind of on standby, and it was 19 cards that we had for that last matchup. So like, dude, it is happening again. It's all
This was only
occurring.
12, so not too bad.
It was a light affair, but I'm trying to see if I can pull up that the graphic that I had from last time. But I guess kind of the big element of the game has to be the red card because that changed everything. Tallahassee was starting to get into the flow. that it was kind of a back and forth, and they seemed to be a little more of the aggressor.
I'd
As
agree with
far
that.
as far as between the two teams up to that point, but then the challenge and the card kind of exploded. To you, was the red warranted?
No, to me that was a yellow card. He did shove him. It was definitely a yellow card. Um, but yeah, unless you're headbutting someone, kicking someone, I don't know that a shove justifies a red card in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it seemed a little bit much of that, and this is kind of what we were referencing from last year. So we had gone into the archives. So this is what happened last time that Pensacola and Tallahassee squared off here in the capital city. Yeah, 17 yellows, 2 reds. So we did get that 10-on-10 battle that we were looking for, Ben, which I think for most would have not been a likely scenario that we have seen, but you know, everybody was getting in on the magic, Ben,
It's a new
for
tradition.
yeah. So yeah, that was last year. So just as for the people coming in, those were the last year cards, but I felt like we were right on board with that. And yeah, to the people out there, like if you're trying to get in on this action, like let this be a call in. Go for it. Hit the comments. We can get you in here. We'll send you the link. We'll do it up. We'll do the thing. We'd love to hear from the people, Ben. It feels like all too often. Well, I don't know about you, but for me, it's just kind of blabbing onwards and not really getting that much out of there. But you know, if there's some action going on here, because that was a debate that I had from a lot of people, is that was kind of coming through the messages, is like, yeah, it feels like the red was deserved. And I heard one people said there, and they tried to equate it to like a basketball situation of like, hey, if this has happened in basketball, the person would get tossed. But I don't see it that way. I see extracurricular, yeah, 100% yellow for sure. But there was
Yes.
no, and this is, I think we kind of, the water kind of got muddied when we were talking of either during the broadcast. I think we reflected on it a little bit. We have to tighten it up a little bit when we're there on the broadcast, just because even though the management and the organization with TSC is fantastic and kind of lets us do whatever we want, there's still the repercussions we could get from the league in that public space under the team umbrella. One of the reasons why we go outside the team umbrella to this is because we can talk more freely, mainly because of the league associations. But all to say, Ben, is it doesn't feel like the shove warranted that. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't like a shot at the head. It
Mhm.
wasn't like a kick to the back. It was just like a, hey, get out of here, jokester. Like, what the heck? Like, I'm watching you kind of situation to me. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, that kind of stuff happened all the time. And I'm sure it happened to you when you were playing, Ben, back in the glory days. And so, but it felt like a yellow, and the red seemed a little extreme to me.
Yeah, to me it's a yellow card, and then the next foul you do, that's probably going to be a second yellow because it's almost kind of like the orange card maybe territory of you're
Hmm.
kind of crossing the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me the straight red was harsh.
Okay, well, let's check it out. Well, let's let the people be the judge as we kind of get it going up here. I think I have the capacity to share my screen, so bear with me for the technological gears churning. But as we pull it up here, can you see that okay, Ben? Is that coming through on your screen?
Yeah, I got you.
If you can see it, the people can see it. Okay, so here we go. Pensacola is going to be on the attack here. So Homeboy comes in here, and then there's going to be a slide tackle. I think it's going to be Chiafini's going to come in here and slide, and then that's going to kind of throw everything off, and then things get wild. So it feels like we should put this Joker on a little half speed, Ben. What you think?
Complete agreement.
All right, so let's get it rolling. So here's a slide. So we come in here, heavy challenge, and then Chiafini's battling. Here's the battle, ongoing battle. So boom, gets in there, big knee, and then Homeboy, I'm gonna pause it right there, Ben. So like big knee coming in here. So that's the infraction, right? So that's what we're gonna
Yep.
hold up. Then Homeboy rips it. See if Chiafini's lying on the ground, rips it into him as he's lying down here. So Tallahassee's not too cool with that. So then you see Comodine is going to come in here. Empty's got to back up his boy, right? Which
Yeah.
I'm all about. So he comes, backs up his boy, gets in here, boom, shoves him to the ground. So that's the shove.
Yeah.
That's the shove that gets you a red. Defending your player, boom, little tumble to the turf. And then things jump off, the captains come in and all that other stuff. But to me, come on, dude. A red, straight red for that. I get he's not looking. I get it's after the fact. I get, but it wasn't like he came in full speed and wrecked him. It was a shove. He was there. Okay, yellow, 100%. But you're going to toss him for the red for there. And then there's the conference. But if you look at it here, as we wind it back a little bit, so referee's looking at this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then,
Yeah,
boom,
he's not like running full speed,
yeah.
taking him out. It's, I don't know. I've seen that shove a lot in soccer, and every time it's been a yellow card until today.
Yeah, until today. So he gets tossed, and now TSC's going down to 10 men. And like you said, crazy that they were able to get into halftime 0-0. I thought that was a huge win to get it into the break. But then unfortunately, just after the break, Ben, we're running into a little trouble as we see it coming right out of the second half. Shout out to TOC, one of the great long-term sponsors of your Battle Lions. But I thought I was going to be able to jump forward here. But right after that break, Ben, as we're kind of going through, as I'm trying to get this goal effectively. Here's a little sequence that we have here. I think this is the one that produces the goal. Played out of the back. Pensacola locks it in. I think we can go back to full speed. What you think, Ben?
Sounds good.
a little bit of a slow roll there.
Yeah, everything's looking good so far.
So
Just some decent. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you can tell it's a little compact with the 10. Squirts through, boom, and then homeboy kind of slices it home there.
Yeah, a good bit of possession there. They really set that up well. Good bit of interplay to create the space for the runner, and then yeah, just a great individual effort to take the touch away from the defender and just hit it low into the bottom corner.
Yeah, a couple one touch, and so things kind of get wild a little bit after that. But I mean, TSC kept it battling, and there was a couple awesome saves that we saw from Balog. I thought they were super impressive to keep the team into it. Some defensive efforts, and that you saw, because that changed everything. It changed the whole dynamic, and we were able to catch Coach Joel afterwards in the locker room quickly, and he said it felt like we were just getting into a flow, and tactically we had to throw everything in the trash and strap from there, and how they had to pivot everything around to try to catch up on what was that 10-man operation, which, anytime that you do. But I thought a lot of awesome performances you saw. I think Joe Warren is one that sticks out to me, coming back out of the midfield, dropping into that defensive role. I thought Chiafini was all over the field. He was diving all over it, going off, keeping things alive. Balog, like we said, fantastic effort in net. Who were some other people that stood out to you as far as the performances to kind of keep this thing within striking distance at 1-0? Because it's so easy to drop when you're pressing forward or to take risks to go down 2-3, and then you're basically buried when you're dealing with 10 men.
Yeah, you mentioned Balog. I wanted to shout out an incredible double save that he made. Either one of the shots could have been the second goal, and from there, down 2 goals, down a player. It's basically game over at that point. So wanted to really highlight that specific play. His work rate will probably go unnoticed on the score sheet, but good play up front from Shapura when we were down to 10. He's playing up front, kind of all he can really do is put the Pensacola backline under pressure so they can't build an attack. And he did a good job of that. There were, maybe some goals that didn't come out of that because they had to play a quick long ball that
Mhm.
Joe Warren or any of the other defenders could have headed away or forces something out of bounds. So it's something that won't show up on the stat sheet, but a good performance nonetheless.
Yeah, 100%. Do you remember like roughly what time that double save was? Was it late 70s, early 80s?
It was sometime in the 70s, I think.
Okay, because I'm trying to track back because that was sick. If I could kind of pull it up for
It was
Xander had
also critical
all the
too
games.
because, Tallahassee, you're down a player, you're down a goal, could easily fold it in, but the battle lines had some good spells of possession in that second half. But down to 10 men, there's only so long you can maintain that, especially when you're pretty evenly matched, as we saw in the first half hour.
Mhm.
So, it was just as Pensacola was kind of starting to come back into the game. And man, if you give up a goal right there, that's really going to kill after you finally got some momentum back. So a really critical double save.
Yeah, and then there was I remember the free kick that you that you brought up.
Yep.
There was a dangerous one right after they went back to 10 on 10, and that one was going upper 90, and he was able to scoop that one out to keep it at that, once again, that standpoint to keep TSC within striking distance.
Yeah, I think that one I almost pulled the old commentator's curse. I think what I said is, all right, you're down to 10, you're back in this. And I said, obviously, you got to defend this free kick first, but then you're back in the game. And then top 90, excellent save. And then it
Yeah.
goes over the goal, but hits the field goal upright
Mhm.
and then hits the net. So a lot of people thought it was in. And I had that heart and mouth. I'm like, man, I just jinxed it.
Oh, yeah. It's like, stupid, stupid, stupid. Why, Ben? Why? Okay, because I can't find the double save, but I'm looking back at the free kick, and I stumbled upon the free kick. So I'm trying to get these clips through effectively. So here we go. So we can see down here we're looking at 86 minutes. So Humboldt had just been tossed. So now we're 10 on 10. So now the dynamic not only has changed, but now it's just more frenetic. Nobody really has footing, and it's kind of a chaotic sequence. But Homeboy's a lefty, tries to sneak it in. Oh, dang, that was gorgeous, dude.
Yeah, it was an
Absolutely
excellent free
gorgeous.
kick, but an even better save.
Yeah, 100%. We got to get our boy Xander back on that one. Half speed though, because that was gorgeous. So watching here, that's where we want. Boom. And then you said, I think you were the one that said on the broadcast, Ben, he's like, oh no, I thought it was in, but it hit. He pushed it up over, hit the football upright, rolled down the back of the net, and it's like, no, because it looked like it went in at that
Mhm.
standpoint. So I was like, okay, so we get back to 10 on 10, and then that's how they're going to take the 2-0 lead.
That would
And
have been brutal.
absolutely, that would have been a absolute total heartbreak. But so glad that was not the case. That would have been one of the saddest things that I've seen. But yeah, Brett, great point, Brett. So he said in the comments here that he's like, I think we can pump it in here. I've seen what he said. Yeah, we'll see what Brent says. Shout out to Brent. He's watching, he's listening. He said he watched the goal 3 times. Felt like the stadium could hold their breath as that pass landed. And we talk about the finish. Gorgeous ball by Chiafini.
Pirlo-esque.
Gorgeous. Yes, absolutely Pirlo-esque. And so I feel like we've come to the time to the show where, I mean, we got to get to that, right?
Oh yeah. We've let the people wait long enough. Let's give them what they're here for. The game tying / winning goal.
Yes, the game-winning goal. It's knotted up at 1-1. Indeed. Woo! And we talk about kind of performances that we had going on, Ben, and we were kind of giving some shout outs for the people and the players of some serious minutes. There were some big time effort. Paul was one that stuck out to me. Great Paul.
Absolutely.
And just, you could tell he was gassed, man, but he just kept going, kept pushing through for some of those opportunities to give us this, and I'm gonna try to pull some audio here, Ben. We'll go normal time speed the first time through, but we'll bring this up to the stage. Take a full bore. Down on the foot, great possession to be able to swing it around and trap it down. Chiaffini looking for Paul. Paul's got to be drained, dude. He's putting in a lot of hard minutes there. And they're continuing to serve. Chiaffini is going to go crossfield. There you go. Get the fresh body in there. Ellerstein inside the box.
Yes! Go! Let's go!
And Ellerstein able to put it in the back of the net. And Tallahassee backs from the dead. 10-on-10 football. Yeah, that was I forgot how loud that was. Yeah. That's a good point. Wild. How awesome was that though? That's huge. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Chris, good point. Chris Ambrose, pipe it in here with the chat. Caleb proving himself to get more than 10 minutes a game. That's gonna help for sure. That was gorgeous. That was a gorgeous ball.
Yeah, and he had last year. I remember he had an excellent long range goal. So if you want a good goal, Caleb Ellerstein's going to provide it for you.
Yeah, 100%. So great to see him kind of pay that off. And it was funny because we had just talked about it. It was like, hey, let's see, as he's coming onto the field, as he goes through this, how about like a super sub moment? And then 6 minutes later, boom, doesn't even have to be on the field for 10 minutes. Yeah, Brent comes in and he says something else. Watching the replay, did you guys not realize the number 8 was on yellow? I'm trying to go back to my stat sheet earlier.
Yeah, I had him I might have missed that one. I had him on we saw obviously the yellow he got on the sideline, but it wasn't clear whether that was a second yellow or if he had gotten a yellow card and then he did or said something else and the referee just gave him a straight red.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was that's a good question, Brent. I did not catch it. Do you know what minute that he picked up was it like earlier in the first half or was it earlier in that sequence? Because it felt like we were at a point where the cards were happening and we were trying to like manically write them down as they were happening. But to your point, before he started off the field, I thought he was clean. So that was on us. We must have missed that. And yeah, Brett said he said early in the first half, got a yellow. Okay. So that was a great catch. And that was
thanks for catching that.
Yeah, good looking out. And so that was a good catch because evidently on the Tallahassee sideline, they were trying to say, hey, this guy's wasting so much time, because that's been a point of emphasis. I know it's huge in the World Cup, and that's at least within the U.S. organization coming down the road of that's always been an emphasis of like time wasting, because they want to cut down on the stoppage time. So they're trying to preempt it by cut down on the time wasting and all that good stuff. So yeah, homeboy's walking off and picks up his second yellow. Did not realize he was already on yellow. So that's a good point of that going through. I thought as he was time wasting, that was yellow 1. And then he said some of the magic words, or he goes straight red from whatever he said on the other sideline. So that's a good catch. Good catch, Brett. But that changed the game back to us. Because the thing is, all homeboy has to do is jog off. And, Pensacola probably gets out of there 2-0, 3-0. But homeboy's milking it, trying to do the thing. And then he got himself into trouble.
And he wasn't the only one. I think the referee had warned another Pensacola player that had gone off earlier. So they were put on notice. And man, if you're on a yellow card, you can't take that risk. Yeah. Like you can walk off. You can walk off slowly. It was the fact that he stopped to take his shin guards off. That was the real egregious moment, at least to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cherry on top. Oh, okay. So that was part of that, Brent. He's the man. We got to get Brent in on the broadcaster, texting the notes. He's
Brent, you want to be our spotter?
So Yeah, he was able to catch that. That was the one where he goes over to the fourth official, because I know there was a sequence where a lot of that kind of stuff was going on. So something interesting, but yeah, there was a lot of that. It felt very VAR-ish tonight, Brett, and the rest of the gang out there. I don't know if you kind of got that, but I didn't see that on Wednesday, which was, I'm pretty sure, almost essentially the same referee crew that we had on Wednesday. But tonight was super VAR-ish. It was wild. But I'm glad that they did it, because in some situations it was the right move. Like the penalty kick. Like,
Oh yeah, that
Homeboy,
was ridiculous. It wasn't even close to being in the box.
when Homeboy tried to give the penalty kick, I was like, no, because that has happened before. That was what, 20, whatever the year was that they were doing construction on their field, and they came back to Tallahassee and they played 2 games. I think it was 23, but that's exactly how that game went down. They got us. We were down 1-0. We were chasing, and then they got this bogus penalty, and I think that was like the runaway, if I'm remembering that correctly. But it felt like that was happening all over again. We got some shout outs coming from American Cannon 10. I guess he's a Georgia fan. I don't know if he's a Pensacola fan who's just like, I can't wait for you guys to lose, or he's a Valdosta fan. If you're a Valdosta fan, what up? Like what you guys have going on. Feels like you guys got a big jump. We'll see if Valdosta gets this next weekend. They played us pretty tough up there early in the season last year in I want to say Hialeah. I forget what the name of the town is called. But hey, they got it going on. Also talks about the refereeing. Yeah, I mean, it's been tough, and I try to resist the temptation to just destroy lower league refereeing, because it feels like to me that you've got, at least the flow that typically happens is with lower league soccer in these realms. Like, we have D1 guys, right? And we have also high level collegiate players that may not be D1, but you're basically getting high-end high school refs that are reffing college players, and I just think that there's a different dynamic, and I think you have to, it's less of like a directive in high school, because they're minors, right? And like some of these guys are like peers, and like you have grown men. Like some of these squads have like 35-year-old dudes, or just like guys that are working full time. So potentially they could be coworkers, right? And so just the management and everything, and the skill and the speed of the game is so much faster. So yeah, so I feel that. American Cannon 10 also commenting, red card for TSC, not necessary. People pay money to come watch a good game. The ref gets a red card for a weak push and the guy dives. We're men. It's not a red. Yeah, that was not peak male performance then, as you love to say.
Yeah, there was not just that one. There was another one where I think we noted on the broadcast where the referee stood where the foul happened and where the guy landed. It was about a 5 to 10 yard difference. Like you did not fall that far on your own. Well, you did fall that far on your own. You didn't fall that far with outside assistance.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, granted, it's a card, and I get that, but red was crazy to me. Kind of once again, 100%. So yeah, 100% agree with that. And then Fontenot got in on there too. He threw a dive in there out on the wing. There was a little bit of embellishment, but that's all Pensacola playing the heel. I thought that was a great kind of terminology from the broadcast team. After the game is we were sidebar, and then our fantastic camera person, she likes to stay out of the public eye, so I won't throw her out there, but she was like, it felt like a wrestling match in that TSC and Pensacola, when Pensacola comes to town, they're like playing the heel. And I was like, that's a fantastic metaphor. They're like playing the villain, trying to do all this, doing their thing, and like deservedly so, right? You got the last 5, was it? Or you got 4 wins in the last 5 games. You got the 5 cups. So like respect to that, right? I'll kiss the ring. It's like, we want it. We can't get it, but we want it. But they do a good job playing the villain, and it makes a good rivalry, I think, because the way that kind of the leagues and some of the things go on is, a lot of times it is pretty sterile. You've got like these drop ship teams, like a couple of the teams we have out there in the Panhandle. I think we know who those are. There's the one team that we're rivals with that's been around for a while. And then there's a couple newer teams that, kind of came out of nowhere, and they're like hired hands and mercenaries, and they just kind of drop in for a couple of months and then they'll be gone. And it seems like a lot of lower league is going towards like a sterile situation, but to have like a rivalry, like, we've seen Boateng like 6 times. We've seen like Mendoza, like all these players, like the guys that keep coming back. And then you look at the other side, like Zuri, Bennett. Our guys have played in 5 or 6 of these Pensacola games. And so it's like 2 squads to have that kind of continued base with the fresh faces and the talent that we both have. I mean, it makes it fun. I don't know.
Oh yeah, like we were talking about the Chokadoke earlier. If you're a Florida State fan, man, it was good to have Steve Spurrier on the other side needling you. It makes it more fun when you beat a rival like that who's coming at you.
Yeah. Indeed. It kind of feels like a Florida State basketball situation right now.
Yeah.
A lot more on the one side than the other side, but we'll get it to that football dynamic soon enough. Brett coming back in here. Yeah, this is why, Brett, I try not to be super slammed down. This is 100% accurate. This is nationwide getting those refs. And so, yeah, if we just kind of, try to take them down, it is tough. And I mean, I don't blame them, to be honest. Like, it's brutal. People are relentless. And so I try to reserve my critiques for when it goes real bad. But, yeah, for what it's worth.
Yeah, and to the point about struggling to get refs, I mean, I think we've seen this same ref crew. I mean, it was about the same crew as we had Wednesday, maybe even the same one as Mobile. And that's been a common theme throughout the years. We usually see the same 1 or 2 crews working our games because it's lower league soccer. During the summer, you got to take what you can get.
Yeah, because you have to get to that point to have that credentialing, and then you kind of go from there. You have your pool, and then they're not paying a lot of money, so it's like hard to get people in there, hard to get people travel, and it's tough. And you have to be passionate about the game, and so you think about it just like anything that you do. Like if you went to work, you're getting like Skittles for pay, right? And they're just getting yelled at the whole time. Like that sucks. Like you're not going to want to do that for long. But at the same time, it's like a necessary part of the situation. So it's a troublesome catch-22. I wish they get paid more, right? That'd be great. But what you going to do? But it's a good point. Good point. Also American Canon, obviously familiar with the program. So I don't know who this guy is. He's probably somebody that we know that's coming in as an alias because he's talking about Valdosta, but then he also knows anybody who knows the term cousin Psy is a long time either listener of the podcast or is familiar with the 2 organizations. So it's got to be a Pensacola person for sure. Or it's just somebody that we know that's it's kind of sliding in there undetected, Ben. But yeah, that was one. It was one. I guess it was second half. The one on this kind of near sideline. What you want, Brett? Can you all look at the lead up to the goal? I want a breakdown of the turnover and the pass. Which goal are you talking about? The TSC goal, I would assume, is the one that he's kind of talking about. I can bring that up.
I'll watch that again and again. I can't watch that enough times.
Or are you talking about the early goal that Pensacola scored? Because both those were, one was a more direct, I guess, turnover that led to the Pensacola goal. But yes, let me try to bring that up, Brent. Okay. I thought he meant the TSC. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. That was minute 86. Do you remember what the count was?
Yeah, I think it was 86.
No, it looks like it was later than that. Oh yeah, 89. Okay.
Oh wow.
All right. Yeah,
left it till the end.
We'll try to go back here, Brent. So I'm going to give us a little bit of runtime. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's see. So we got it pulled up. Okay. So I guess we'll try to give it a little run and we have to go back. We got to go back, I guess, if we have to watch it again. Okay. So here's kind of that long ball, that first edition. I think it's Paul chases it down. Then they blast it out, right? Good win. Joe Warren won so many headers back there tonight, dude.
He did. Had a fantastic one at the end.
Also, how about this little touch and turn? I know not the question, but I got to shout this out. How about the big man? So it pops up here. Watch our boy Joe Warren as it pops up here. Chest, turn, oof, right down to the feet to be ready to go. So then there's the kind of back and forth. Now Zuri's on the ball. He tries to thread it through. PFC picks it out. Boom. Okay, so that was the moment. So Zuri plays it up, and then they just kind of kill it. But then it's just like Chiafini, boom, one touch, puts it over the top. Woo! Beautiful.
Yeah, that's an excellent control in midfield. I had forgotten how little time he had spent on the ball. He just took it right down. And yeah, you can, if you watch on the, I'm sure we're going to watch this again, but man, as Ellerstein brings that down because he runs kind of to the left side, you see the goalkeeper cheat, and then he has to cheat toward the near post, and that's what catches him out. If he just kept his ground, he may have saved that.
Yeah. That was a nice finish to recognize that. Oh, I didn't catch the dance on the first time through. Okay. So let's go back. I mean, I guess if we got to watch it again. So here's because this was the first one they try to pump through here. Okay, so this is boom. There's Joe on the turn. And then this Chiafini tries to put it through. They block it. Comes back. And this is the Zuri ball that's going to get canceled. Boom. Trap. Touch. And then Ellerstein. Boop. Oh, yes. 100%, Brett. Yeah, first time you get around the defender. 100% great for the hometown kid. But yeah, as you kind of go back to it, that's what was so nice. The ball was gorgeous. It gave him time to get under there, right? But I agree with you, Brett. That was a beauty of a touch. And how about the hometown gang overall coming through lately? I think this season, we've been talking about the youth movement. Brett, I know you've been around long enough to talk about the youth movement. Okay, here he is. So here's that magical touch. Boop. Gets it on. And then to your point, he's cheating. And now he's starting to double back. So it looks like he's watching him. And
he's realized he's too far away from the near post, because that's the big thing as a goalkeeper. Don't let them score at your near post. I think he realizes that. But yeah, Ellerstein just sends it back the other way.
Whoo. And that's naughty right there. Too late. Boom. Yeah, shout out to Caleb. Couple minutes in. What did he get? Substitute less than 6 minutes before that. Comes in, scores a goal.
Yeah, this wasn't his first touch, but it was probably still within the first 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nasty. And then you see the eruption. So the whole squad flooding in here. You see Petley down there at the screen running over to the corner. Luckily, the news caught that. You can see them. Petley's like, yes! So that's Luciano. Like, yes, let's go. How about Julian jumping in there on the pile? I always like seeing the secondary stuff because this is never any of the stuff that we could see live. Like, we could never catch any of these.
Yeah, we're so busy, trying to provide commentary, although in this case it was a lot of yelling and high-fiving and fist pumping.
Banging on the table.
Yeah, there were probably some extra noises there on the broadcast. It was probably me banging the table or clapping or something, and Jeep doing the same thing. And then we're trying to update the scoreboard, provide analysis. It's a lot going on a goal.
I like this,
especially
Joe.
Something like this.
Joe just looks like totally shook. He's like, I can't believe that. And then Luciano's still pumped. He's like, yeah, I sent that ball. That was awesome. Hell yeah. so it goes out so that Caleb's just getting mobbed, deservedly so. Awesome for him. What a moment. Comes out, yes! And then he's like, Luciano, that was a great ball. Yes! And then he had to look at the news camera. I had to get that one. Get that highlight reel. And then watch the dance here. You'll see Caleb towards the middle of the screen about the 20-yard line. Here we go. Oh, that's good. Do. Hey, and then Zuri gets into it. Okay. There you go, Big Z. Woo! That was great.
Coach
Unreal.
Joel out on the field, getting pumped.
Yeah, Coach Joel was pumped. He was fired up. He had to go get himself a card today.
He did indeed. You love the fire from Coach.
Yeah. Coach is usually good for a card or two a season. So, I mean, at the halfway point now TSC's at match day 5 through there. That, now he's right on pace. Good to go.
Is indeed.
Good to go. Yeah, so you look at I guess anything in the game that we didn't really get after, Ben, that was kind of in the mix here.
I think we've covered most of it. It's just amazing to it's one of the things I love about soccer, just how organically the drama develops. And you watch that first 30 minutes, you're thinking, there were some chippy fouls in there, but for the most part, you're like, okay, this could be probably a 1-1 or a 2-1 game or something. And then, well, it did wind up as a 1-1 game, but how you got there was a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying to see if we just have the finals, from some of those other games, because I think this will kind of help force the playoff picture. I was looking primarily, the one that I was looking for was the New Orleans Panama City Beach one, because we know the other finals, and most of those were primarily impacting the West. But of course, this was going to be because if PSC, PCB, FC, the dropship organization, if they beat their opponent, I think they would jump up to the 1 seed.
I think that would give them. I
If
think
we go on
Pensacola would still be top with 2.3 points per game. I think Panama City would be at 2.2, and then Tally's at 2.0.
Yeah, if Panama City wins, they would be at 13 points in 6 matches. So that would be what?
2.167.
Yeah, 2.
So about 2.2. I don't know how many where are our significant figures here for this league?
Yeah, so it feels like Pensacola would be top, but all that to say is that would probably, if they won, which I think would be a pretty safe assumption. The chat was a little hard to follow, so they lost their feed almost instantly for their game. And I know that there was conversation. I was trying to follow the chat of New Orleans scoring a goal, but I think we can assume that they would go ahead and get the victory. So that would put them in the 2 spot. That would keep Pensacola at the 1, like you said. And so going into next week, Tallahassee at 2.0. Right, Ben? Are we getting that right?
Yes, but important to note, this is only Pensacola's 3rd game. Panama City's Beach has played 6 games. Tallahassee, we're on our 5th game. So, and yeah, Pensacola has not played Panama City Beach yet. We're the top 3 in our division. So there's still plenty of soccer to be played. The standings are far from final.
Yeah, 100%. And they actually play 17th. Okay, so not next week, but the week after they will be playing. Because Pensacola's got a little bit of a tough stretch, and we can kind of gonna go into here. Let me see if we can get a new screen in here. Technology. We're trying to get there. Okay, can you see this okay?
Gotcha.
So you can see on my window. So this is just so people can see. This is kind of Pensacola's schedule to kind of articulate what we're talking about. So they played LAXFC, which I think is the worst team, not only in the East, by far the worst team in the East, but I think they're the worst team in the conference. I think if New Orleans plays them, I don't know if they're going to play New Orleans. I guess we could see that. But I think New Orleans will beat them. And New Orleans can at least seems competitive sometimes. So they beat Valdosta 6-0. They beat LAXFC 14-1, as you can see, as I zoom in here. So obviously the 1-1 draw. But then you look at their schedule. GAFA, one of the best teams. I know they just tied the Academy out there. So you got to think that they favor Pensacola. But, they got to go all the way to Mississippi to play that game. So that's not necessarily a given. We saw GAFA play tough there at home. I think they beat Union 10 out there, who won the conference last year. Then they got to play the other team, Panama City. Then they got to play us at home again. This is what it is. And then Valdosta, they got to play GAFA again. So they probably have, between the three of us, they probably have the toughest intra-divisional opponent.
I'd agree with that.
I know AFC Mobile is up, but probably the tougher one, but two. And then they got the season finale. So this will be interesting. July 3rd, when we are on the road at Valdosta for our season finale. Friday, they will be at Panama City. Interesting. Playing on the turf out there. So that could go a long way in that situation. We were talking about LAXFC. Yeah, you can kind of see 14-1, 8-0, 8-0, 4-1. You can kind of see what they got going on. Who's their out of conference opponent?
Union 10.
Union 10. Okay, so they probably have a tougher one there, but we weren't really factoring them in. But I think Brent brings up a good Brett. Sorry, I keep saying Brent. There's so many Brents and Bretts within the Tallahassee Soccer Club organization. Scheduled loaded with us. True, should put up numbers 100%. Yeah, I like our chances. Of course, Lax is going to be a great opportunity to get some goal differentials going. And then kind of queue us up for Pensacola. So we can kind of see the schedule as we blast in here. To Brett's point. So, yeah, we played these two teams. This was the big week for us. Got out with the 4 points, which was huge to be able to get that 3-1 and get the 1-1 here. Huge. So you feel really good about our chances coming through here on, I guess that's Wednesday, out in Callaway at the Rec Complex, and then come back home for Valdosta. Feel good about that one. And then that'll give us opportunity to go on a weekend. So then we have, which is rare when we play Pensacola on the back half, we got 8 days between these two games. We got a full week going forward before we get that Sunday game. This is a Friday game, 13th.
No, that should be a Saturday.
Yeah.
That'll be next Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, so that'll be Saturday, and then that's why there's the Sunday game here. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but Pensacola is, real quick, Pensacola is going to be coming off Panama City Beach just 5 days before they play us. And they're coming off GAFA the week before. That's a tough run.
Yeah. So, opportunities there. Yeah, let's see if that they were able to update that score because the feed went down. Oh, they beat New Orleans. Dang it, 2-1. Good for New Orleans. That's a good showing for them. I know New Orleans is still kind of scrapping out there. I don't think they've gotten a point yet. But 2-1, that's a good contest. Yeah, so that will put Tallahassee back into the 3 spot. But it's much closer than it was at the start of the week as far as the decimals go, to your point. Okay, so now we kind of know about the league table a little bit to see what's going on, just to see. I don't think New Orleans has a point yet. Yeah, they got pretty close. Hey, they got 2 good battles against a pretty solid Panama City team, though.
Yeah, they got some tough sledding coming up, though, back-to-back against Union 10.
Yeah, doesn't look great. Doesn't look great. Who you like out of the West, though, Ben?
I think Union 10 is a pretty solid bet to
Yeah.
win out over there. And then we talked about it it's probably going to be between Gaffa and Mobile for that 2 spot over there. I think just slightly favoring Gaffa. We did the double over the Azaleas, so that's 6 points they're behind right there. That's going to be tough to overcome. They can do it, but I think Gaffa just has the edge over Mobile.
Mm-hmm. Because Gaffa tied, so that puts them 10-5, 10 points. Oh no, 6 games. And then AFC tied, so that's 7 points in 5 games. Union tied, so that's 13 in 5 games. So that's kind of tightening up. Pensacola, they tied. A lot of ties out there in the West. A lot of ties all over the league.
Yeah, we had a tie today in our game.
True.
2 ties in the West.
3 ties.
Panama City Beach pulled out the win, though, as did Pensacola.
Yeah. No, the Academy
Pensacola
tied.
Academy, I should say. Oh, did they tie?
Came back. Yeah, they tied 2-2.
Okay.
Yeah, the Academy was up 2-0. I was like, oh, dang, Academy's going to run away with it. But so they'll be sitting at 7 points in 6 games. So it looks like mostly things will stay the same. 7 points in 5 games. So the standings should stay the same because everybody there tied. Tie Union 10, tie here, tie here, tie here. Yeah, so everybody's going to, at least on a points per match situation. Yeah, Brett, AFC also drew. Yeah, super late goal, stoppage time. Good for AFC. Battle of the Bay. Have to go second leg there. AFC, one of those teams to root for. They're one of our guys. Been there since day one in the Gulf Coast Premier League, coming up with us in Pensacola squad. They were always a good frenemy, so to speak. Some good competition. Taught us the game. Good lower league soccer culture there. Then they went under, and then they're back from the dead, which never happens. So credit to what AFC Mobile's got going on, that they are back from the dead. But yeah, so we still have an opportunity, Ben. Still got an opportunity to make some noise, which I think is a good thing going forward.
Yeah, with LAX, I don't know that Tallahassee needs to be too concerned about taking the full 6 points in those 2 games. Valdosta, you're going to have to show up and play, but realistically, that's a 2-game set that Tallahassee should take full points from, but they will have to work for it. As we've seen, Valdosta, they opened the season with a draw against Panama City Beach, who beat Tallahassee earlier this year before we got our revenge. And then, it's just down to Pensacola. That is a must-win game for sure. You got to take care of business, get the full 3 points, not just to get the 850 Cup, but to get into the playoff spot. Because if you don't get those 3 points, you're going to have to rely on Pensacola and or Panama City Beach dropping points somewhere else where you won't expect it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I fully believe that Valdosta is going to give us trouble, especially when we have to go up there for the season finale, especially if we feel like we're just going to kind of roll in there, because they gave us trouble last year, especially in that early going. It was tough sledding for Tallahassee to get things rolling against Valdosta in that first half. Then they got the momentum going and pulled away a little bit, but I think Valdosta's up from where they were last year, similar to AFC. And to what we've seen a little bit, they start to get some momentum. They beat LAX. You start to stack some points. You start to feel pretty good when you're scoring goals. You get some momentum. So, yeah, I'm not saying that Valdosta is going to be a walk around, but, yeah, I feel pretty confident about Lax, though, the 6 points. Let's get some depth in there, Coach. Get some depth in there.
Be a good game to start our goal scorer tonight, Mr. Ellisteen.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, back to the point of, hey, it'll be interesting. The attacking portion of this squad is just loaded, and practice is going to be wild because of all the scores you go up there. When you have Malden up there who's been balling out, Shapura, who's been looking solid. All of them have goals now too, so they start to feel the magic. Start to feel the magic a little bit. We just need to play like 4 defense and just like 6 strikers, and then kind of keep going from there.
Yeah, forget what I said about needing a variety in attack. Just bomb the ball forward. Let those 6 figure it out.
Yeah, midfield is irrelevant. Get Coach Solari on the horn. Let him know, hey, take some time off. We don't need midfield. We'll go defense, backline, and then just a ton of strikers. Just start ripping goals. Who knows? Who's to say? Who's to say? All in all, Ben, good day at the Gene. Feels like a relief that we're not doing the same old thing that we had so many times before that. But it was good. It was good. Any other thoughts, whether it's getting it off your chest, Ben, or emotions within the game of something we haven't talked about while we have the time here?
Not much left other than to say just, while you're in the moment, you're stressed, you're dealing with the difficulty, just, oh, how did the red card, and oh, we just can't get the breaks. But at the end of it, now sitting here, it's like, man, that was fun.
Yeah.
These are the games you remember. Like, we love calling every single Tallahassee game. It's absolutely a blast to do, but most of them are pretty standard affairs. But these Pensacola games are a lot of fun because you can count on a little extra drama to get you a little more invested in the game. I know I was a lot more invested in this one, just clapping, pounding the table, and you can hear it in the commentary too, the difference. Yeah, just a lot of fun.
Yeah. What are the chances that when you wake up, or you're talking about that weekend, and it's like you're talking to your dad, Ben, you're like, yo, Dad, what do you want to do for Father's Day? And then your dad says, Ben, I want to get out in the car. I want to go to the Pensacola Tallahassee game out west. What do you think the chances that happens out there on Daddy Day for you to see the finale, see the cup?
Listen, Dad, we've had a lot of Father's Days, okay? There's been I've been around a long time. We've had plenty of these. We can go on a road trip on this one. Maybe check out Pensacola. We don't need to do the watching of motor racing that we normally do. We can switch it up every so often.
Options are good. Options are good. So yeah, Ben, give me your big 3. Kind of, I guess, stars. You know how they do in hockey sometimes. They have the 3 stars, the 2 stars, the 1 star. Give me your 3 stars of the match here.
Sure. Well, you got to start with the goal scorer. You have a critical moment like that. Just that's a tough ball to, just take out of the air and have it drop at your feet anyway. But then to direct it in the right position away from the defender, and then to send the goalkeeper the wrong way. You got to give it to Caleb Bellestein. He's got to be one of them. Chiafini, I mean, up and down the field. When we were down to 10 men, he was one of the guys driving a lot of the attacks, and he was also dropping into defense to make sure we had the numbers. We weren't going to get outnumbered back there, and then also putting in that heavy effort to run forward and make sure we had something going on the attack. And then also, like I said, you watching it live, you're just kind of in the moment, but watching the replay, I'm like, man, just the incredible control he had, just, to take that ball and then just immediately play a Pirlo-esque pass all the way for the assist. And then in goal, shout out to Xander Balog. I mean, the excellent double save. Go through the replay and just rewatch the second half. You'll find it in there somewhere. It's incredible. And then that amazing top 90 save. Yeah, those were 2 goals right there. Pensacola could easily have had this 3-0, but instead it's 1-1.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good point, Ben. And that's a good point of like, hey, if he doesn't do that, then maybe kind of like what we saw on the broadcast as we talk about this in the pregame, and then feels like we bring it up a lot. It's probably looking like another one of these situations with the 2-0, the 3-0, the 4-2, which we had seen all too much of. But so yes, good that with us avoided 100%. But yeah, dude, Chiafini's been vibing the last week plus, man. Wednesday, nasty. Tonight, the service and getting in there, digging it out, the slides. Joe Warren was somebody for me who was getting after tonight. Awesome. That deserves some acknowledgement and battling through there. Woo!
Braden Paul's another one who deserves a shout out.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Talk about a crazy week for Paul too. Had a absolute baller game on Wednesday, game changer. And yeah, did it again, chasing down those balls, and maybe not something that's going to show up in the stat sheet a lot, but something that's, contributing plays, fighting for it, getting after it, all the good stuff that we love so much, Ben, that you
Absolutely
love to see, and just makes this team like so easy to root for, of doing those things and that battle line mentality that they talk about so often. That's exactly what they have going on. So Ben, I feel like we got to get it one more time before we head out. Feels like we're putting a bow on this thing, and as always, I'm belaboring the point as I can do. Let's rewind it. Let's get
fine
that
by
goal.
me.
Get that goal.
I'm going to watch this a few more times this weekend anyway. So what's one more?
Exactly. So this is how we'll end the show here, and then we'll just kind of tip of the cap. You want the sound, Ben, or no?
Oh, bring on the sound.
I'll have to turn it down. This thing is loud. We're flirting with the 90th minute here. Towering ball to get to Warren. He'll scoop that one out. Kennard, the target, able to get down on the foot. Great possession to be able to swing it around and trap it down. Chiafini looking for Paul. Paul's got to be trained, dude. He's putting in a lot of hard minutes there. And they're continuing to serve. Chiafini is going to go crossfield. There you go. Get the fresh body in there. Ellisteen inside the box.
Yes! Goal! Let's go!
And Ellisteen able to put it in the back of the net. And Tallahassee back from the dead. 10-on-10 football. Caleb Ellisteen is the hero. And we're back to level playing at Gene Cox Stadium. And the former Rickards Raider puts in his first ever TSC goal! And just like Mobile did out west, the rivalry weekend, storylines, drama, late. What a goal here from Ellisteen off the long ball service. That's all she wrote, man. Go get them.
Not much more to say than that.
All right. Y'all be well. Take care, Ben.
Peace. See you, Jupe.
Go TSC.
Go TSC.